In today's video, I want to talk about a few miscellaneous items that you'll want to have on set, but you might not think of if you're relatively new to filmmaking. Just bear with me 15 seconds through this intro video and I'll be right back.
This is how to film a YouTube video. Or anything.
Expendables are items on your budget that aren't big enough to have their own category, but you're going to need them. They're things like batteries, ballpoint pens, bubble gum. Those are all expendables. What I want to do is talk to you about a few expendable items that you're going to want to have with you on set when you're doing any kind of filmmaking or video production that you might not think of if you're relatively new to the industry. The first thing let's talk about is gaffer's tape. Gaffer's tape looks like ordinary duct tape that's black. Only it's quite a bit more expensive than duct tape. So you're probably saying to me, well, Jeff, why don't I just buy duct tape and use that instead if it's so much cheaper? And the reason is because this is made for our purposes. Long story short, this is what you use to tape down cords a lot. And if you use duct tape to do that, it's going to leave a sticky residue on your cord that will not come off. That cord is just basically ruined. And for that reason alone, you want to have some gaffer's tape. Now, gaffer's tape is actually named after one of the jobs on set, the gaffer, who is the lighting guy or the electrician. And therefore, you can find gaffer's tape at any film supply store in the world. And you can also find it at music supply stores like Guitar Center because musicians use this stuff a lot too. They're always taping down chords. It comes in different colors. If you're doing a lot of green screen work, you might want to get a roll of green. And it also comes in these little skinny rolls, and we call that spike tape, but it's still gaffer's tape. And these come in really handy for just marking all kinds of different things, especially like laying down actors' marks on the ground so the actor knows where to land in the camera shot. We'll talk more about that in another video. One of the other items that is very common and you might not think about is C47s. These are C47s. Now, you might be saying to yourself, those look an awful lot like ordinary clothespins. And that's exactly what they are. They are ordinary clothespins. C47 is filmmaking jargon for clothespins. And why don't we just call them clothespins? I don't know. But everybody on any film set or television set is going to refer to these things as C47s, and if you're on set with them, you better know what they're talking about when they go get it. There's a whole story behind why they're actually called C47s, and it's kind of an urban legend. I wasn't there, so I don't really know, but they say that everyone knows filmmaking is very expensive, and in the early days of film, the producer would come and look at the budget and say, why is this thing so ridiculously high? And he would take his black marker and start marking things out of the budget that he felt didn't need to be there. And one of the items that would always get taken off were clothespins. So the film guys, they needed these things and they got kind of wise. They said, okay, let's just call these something else that he won't recognize. So they called them C47s. The C47 was a fighter plane in World War II that the British used, so they must have been pretty cool or something. But the next time the producer came, looked through the item, he didn't know what C47s were, and he was too embarrassed to admit that he didn't know, so he didn't ask anybody, and that's how they got, that's how they stayed on the list. What do you use these things for? Let's say you want to flag the light. Well, these things make perfect holders for something like that. So flagging is something, a technique to just, block light where we don't want it. They're not quite as good as I made them out to be. You have to place them right. In the similar fashion, you want to gel the light, which is, just color the light. Well, it's the same thing here. We are just gonna grab a couple of C47s and put that up. Okay, we'll talk more about light modifiers in a future video. Very similar to C47s are spring clamps. So sometimes they call these alligator clamps or spring clamps. And these come in very handy for hanging backdrops. So like if you're gonna do any green screen work, say you wanna hang a wrinkly green screen behind you like I do, well, These are what hold it to the, well, this thing is supported by two stands on the side and a bar that goes across the top, and the green screen is just held on by some spring clamps. You can get these, I got these at Home Depot for 99 cents, which, you know, 99 cents, why not have half a dozen with you at all times. Normal hardware store, they're usually about $3. If you order them online and all you see is a picture, be sure you get the 2-inch spring clamp. That's the distance that this will open up when I squeeze it together. If you don't know that, they all look the same size in the picture because there's really no reference. And you'll wind up getting the wrong size most likely. Let's just talk about one more item. It is some cotton rope. Cotton rope comes in really good for tying things up. In particular, I'm talking about like cords and cables. So if you have small cords, like computer cords or whatever, you can use Velcro ties or these Bongo ties, and that's really good for smaller cords. But if you have bigger cords like electrical stingers, you have SDI cable, you have light cords, then you're going to want something a little more heavy duty. So what you can do is just take some of your rope, and this is cotton rope, and it's actually clothesline. So ironically, we have clothesline and we have clothespins on set, so you can also hang your laundry out to dry after you're done filming. But bad joke. Can we edit that out? No? All right, anyway, what you want to do is cut your rope into about 2-foot sections, maybe 30 inches a piece, and wrap the ends with some electrical tape so the ends don't fray out. And, you know, just make a whole bunch of these. Just you'll have extras, at least one for every cord. You can do it while you're watching TV one evening. And then this can live with the cord if you take a loop like that, put it on the cord, and then run these 2 ends right through that loop, and okay, that's his new home. And then when we wrap up our cord, you just take the 2 loose ends of this, tie them in a granny knot, and it actually looks easier than I'm making it look. And then your cord won't unravel when you pack it away. Okay. There are dozens of other expendable items that we could talk about, but statistically speaking, this video is starting to get a little bit stale and you're starting to get a little bit bored. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Be sure to come back for future videos. We'll talk about more stuff. And while you're at it, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this on the social media, leave comments in the comment section below, which is the best place to leave comments. You know, just leave an honest opinion. You know, if it helped you, say that. If it didn't help you, feel free to say that. You know, any kind of hate speech or obscenity is going to get deleted, of course. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the other guys. You know, you guys know that. But oh, look at that, time's up. I'm Jeff McClellan. This is How to Film Anything. I'll see you next time.